Fuck. We're here.
Oh, there it is.
How you guys doing?
Good, how are you doing?
Good. Can I ask you any certain questions?
You wanted to ask us a question?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, what?
Where you from?
Austin, Texas.
Yeah, same.
First time to see Otter.
Really?
It's just blowing my mind.
It's amazing. Big events, yeah.
Oh, I've seen it online and I just never thought I'd actually be here.
Yeah. I missed it for the last 8 years, and then I've come back now for this one, and it's impressive because it wasn't this big when I last went. Well organized, you know, it's hard to get in and out of here, but that's like every single event I go to in the world. You know, there's no easy way to fix traffic on a weekend like this.
I'm Wesley.
I'm Troy.
Troy,
Yeah.
MRP.
Yes.
Good to meet you.
Good to meet you.
Here's a funny story. So I bought my first high-end bike in '03. It was a J Mr. Car 3.0. And I kept bashing my shit up, and I'd have to go spend a bunch of money on a tune-up. And I asked my mechanic, I said, how do I not have a chain come off all the fucking time? He said, well, there's this new company making these 2 plates, calling it a chain guide. And I'm like, yeah, whatever you gotta do, order it up.
Yeah.
He's like, I came back the next day or two, and I'm like, what's the deal? I hadn't gotten a call. He's like, well, they're out of aluminum. They ran out of aluminum, and they're not gonna have any for like 6 months. Because everyone's buying up these chain guide
Yeah.
systems. So, in fact, that chain guide that I finally ended up getting in '03 stayed on that bike till I sold it in 2015.
Yeah.
Never needed a tune-up.
Yeah, we have an archive of them. The company started in '97, and since then, I mean, we've really taken the chain guide to a different level. But the amount of champions that have won World Cups on this chain guide is just endless. From '97 all the way
Silver
to
with the
current.
orange wheel.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, now we've gone down to a really simplified version. We still have the DH guide that actually your chain rolls onto a jockey wheel, but we have another one now called the SXG where it's completely doesn't touch at all unless it has to. Okay. So it's really silent. You know, you don't have that clutch kind of feeling. So it's like what Sam Hill's using on a lighter DH race if it's not so bad or muddy. So yeah, it's cool. It's cool to keep in that world, but it's funny that we were 70% guides and 30% suspension, and now we're 80-20.
80-20 to suspension?
Suspension, yeah.
Wow, y'all just released a fork like a year ago, right? 2 years ago?
No, this is a longer story than that. White Brothers, remember that brand? Okay, White Brothers was a suspension brand from the US. We own White Brothers for the last 15 years. So we've always had suspension, but it's just been really developed in the last probably like 7 years to be modernized and to be, you know, competitive with the other guys in the market. We were the very first company to ever do a 27.5. We were the very first company ever to do a 29er. People don't know a lot of those details. These forks are hand built in Colorado. Okay. All of the knobs, everything that you see on there are machined in-house. When you order a fork from me, we ask you wheel size, offset, travel, and decal color. We build that fork for you, we dyno test that fork for you, and it's got 200 hours ride time when it's in your hands. So
I found a RAM cartridge for not on this fork. The one I got wouldn't fit over on this.
So that was the answer. The question would be, why would I buy MRP over Fox?
We're like the Bentley of the fork makers, you know. We are like, you know, you want a custom color decal, you want a custom offset, you want a custom travel set, you know, what do you want, you know?
I'd like options to make this bike feel better.
Yeah.
But does offset increase
wheelbase? No, offset's not for everybody. There are certain frames designed around a shorter offset, like transition. So right now, if you wanted to go with get a new transition bike, then your offset is going to be shorter than almost every. So if you like bought a fork online, 90% of those forks aren't going to have the offset you need to get the transition.
This is like the transition.
Yeah.
This is a 44.
Okay. So
This is offset forward. Am I right?
Correct. So we do, that's a 51. So we do a 51, a 46, and a 41. 41? Yeah. And the 41 is like the transition guys because they want it down to 37. But
I would want more offset. Seems like for a longer wheelbase. That's what I'm trying to get next.
Again, you know, you have to decide what you're trying to achieve, like high speed straight, you know, nimble turning, slack, not slack, and then you can kind of figure out, you know, your best options for the offset. But most of these bikes have been strictly designed off the offset with the fork that they've come with. When you start to change it, it's a mix of, you know, you could come out with badass feeling bike, or you can come out with some real sloppy feeling, you know, ass dragger. So.
Gotcha.
So yeah, it's and then our rear shocks, you know, another bulletproof product. We have a coil version and an air version coming, and so you can match a front end coil or air.
What are the increments of spring tension? We also.
Yeah, we have about 6 right now, and the cool thing is you used to have to buy different lengths of springs, and now we just have one length with a spacer kit. So all you're choosing now is your weight. But the other really cool thing is we have a progressive spring. We're the first company ever to come out with a progressive spring, which is tighter wound at the top. So the last 20% gives you a progressive. Yeah. So if you had an air,
how do you build that?
Huh?
How the hell do you build that?
So it's the string that's on the left-hand side closest to us. You can see the top 3 or 4 coils are tighter.
Okay, yeah.
And that's the last part of the travel.
Right. So that's
Oh,
where
I thought you
feel
built
it.
I thought the last part of the coils was thicker.
No, it's just tighter.
Yeah. Okay. The space is.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, a lot of unique things. We do all of the testing and everything in Grand Junction, Colorado. So it's, you know, pretty hardcore terrain, and puts the bikes through what they need to go through.
I wish I could have put my ramp control on this.
Yep.
Maybe I could have. I don't know. It came from a 2016 Pike. It was the Model B. I have that at home, but when I got this fork like Tuesday, right before the trip on Wednesday, they said it wouldn't fit.
Well, there's two different thread pitches.
Okay.
That's the only difference, and you got to be real careful because if you do screw it up, it'll blow right out.
So they knew what they were talking about. So
but yeah, it's just a different, like Model A or Model B. You probably got Model A and you need the Model B. So. But that's a 10-minute change, and man, it makes a complete difference.
Oh, I love it. I have it on my Fox.
Yeah. 4 tokens on the fly, basically.
Yep. Wow. I keep it as open as I can, and then when it's like, that drop's gonna be hard.
Yeah.
Hit the drop and it goes back.
What does it do?
It's like the same thing as putting in tokens.
Yeah. So it doesn't change the air volume.
Change the last bit of progression.
It changes the amount of the way that the air flows through this part of the fork. So, you know, however deep our cartridge is, the air flows freely here, but when it hits our cartridge, depending on how many clicks you got, it slows it down and lets it back out. So that's where you get that. The only time you feel it is at the bottom of the stroke. You got a really supple top. Most people get on the bike and say, oh, this is too soft for me. I'm like, ride it, take a lap. They come back with a big smile because they never rode a fork that soft that was still supportive on the big stuff.
Yep.
So you'll see that with the ramp control, you'll have to use less pressure and it'll feel more supple, but it gives you more support. You're going psychologically the opposite direction.
I see. And what would that upgrade cost you?
It's like $90, $100, depending on which fork it is. But you guys about, I think it's about $90. I think they're selling them here for a little cheaper. But so again,
what's the competitor that just came out with the?
P&W, isn't it?
No, you know, I don't live in the U.S., so I don't know a lot of the.
I think Push is doing a ramp control.
Yeah,
but it has a high and low knob on it. It has somebody is doing it too.
Well, we're